Put your belly, get your backbone eat.
Harrow, Jonathan.
Good evening, Nick.
Yes, Jonathan.
I had a serious point to make about the politics of this country, but can I make the jovial point first?
Jovial?
Because I'm wanting to distract myself from my economic downturn.
Yes.
It's not going well. And I've been listening to that Beatles track.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching the video on repeat very loudly.
Mm-hmm. And how are the neighbours taking that?
It's not going well with them.
Not going
also.
well, no. Oi, keep that racket down, like that.
But have you seen the video?
No.
You keep talking about the Rolling Stones.
Yes.
You were talking about the Rolling Stones with that, I think, no offence, with the elderly lady Lulu who said she'd broken her leg dancing tonight.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't think people of that age should be going clubbing, actually.
No, I don't. It's just flat out embarrassing. That's right.
I think so. She said she was...
Plus, the NHS is under enough strain as it is.
So, you prefer the Rolling Stone to the Beatles?
Well, it depends. It depends.
It made me so emotional.
Oh, yes.
It is. I've been listening to the track on the YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And the video, it is. Have you not even listened to it?
I've heard it through once. It didn't make me emotional, but you've got emotional? Really?
It reminds me of a time better than the walkie-talkie world we live in now.
Oh, yeah.
Okie-dokie.
The wokey-cokey. Mm-hmm.
Because, no offence, London has become the toilet of the England. It has. And no offence.
No offence. That's right. Well, you wouldn't want to give offence. No, the toilet of England, you say, yes?
Because I will tell you something honest. I want to touch on the Catherine Bubble thingy, but I voted for the Boris last time, yes?
So it's your fault. Yeah, thanks a lot, mate.
But one of the problems now is that this country now, I was listening to a few of your lefty walkie callers, and
yes.
at the same time, I was on the Daily Mail website.
Well, you don't want to go too far to the left. No, so you were balancing by looking at the Daily Mail website while you were listening to my wokey-cokey callers.
Okie-dokie.
Yes.
And Nadine Dorris has written a book about rabbits being killed and enforcers in the Tory party, not nice people.
No.
And they even sounded slightly, your walkie caller sounded even slightly less appealing than them.
Really?
And
less appealing than a bunny boiler. Right.
I mean, literally, they call this guy the enforcer, and there's all sorts of, Tory grandees with court cases and all of this. But I've suffered for not voting for Corbyn, because I told you, he was a bit scruffy. He was like that steptoe fellow.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I have been decimated financially, and I'm very stressed because I'm waiting for my visa to get to Philadelphia on holiday.
You're waiting for your what now?
Dropped it again. Waiting for a visa to get to Philadelphia. I want to go on holiday for...
You're waiting for a what now?
A travel permit.
Oh, right. A visa.
Yeah.
Visa, right, okay.
So I'm struggling financially, but I want a little break, holiday.
Yeah.
And with this...
first class 5-star break because, you've got to put your financial worries behind you. I understand.
I can't afford first class anymore. But the thing is that with this M&S advert you're talking about, I was listening to your other presenters talking about it. It's like, is it like Christmas crackers being burnt and thingies?
Yeah, I think they execute Santa Claus right at the end of it, yeah.
Because Catherine Bubble thing, believe it or not, I used to be good in the business world and I had dealings with her, and I think people like her, they stand up for the discipline. Because the problem nowadays, like a lot of your walkie callers, I think a lot of them have an issue with Rishi Sunak. Not you, because you're lovely.
Yes.
But I think a lot of them have an issue with Rishi Sunak, like that old lady who'd broken her leg dancing, because they don't like a powerful brown man in positions of power. And Catherine Bubble Singh, he is going against the indiscipline, because I will tell you this much, even though I'm struggling financially, I would rather have strong disciplinarians than what's happening. Because just to end quickly, if I may, I told you I got choked at the boxing gym.
You got what now?
Choked at the boxing gym.
You got choked at the boxing gym. Is that why you went?
No, I went to try and become fat and bald.
Wait a minute. Wait. You went to the boxing gym to try to become fat and bald.
No, I'm obese.
Oh, because you are fat.
I'm looking as charisma-less as Keir Starmer nowadays. Dull.
Dull, right.
Yeah. And can I just end by saying, because when I got
please do end anytime you like. Go ahead.
We need, I know your walkie callers won't like it, but we need disciplinarians, because the man who gave me a lift from the boxing gym, he was a white van man, and he said he had some drug offences, but he was driving sober, and he said that he thinks the Chinese apps on our phones are making our children homosexual.
Well, that's certainly true. Yeah.
Yeah. So we just need to resist.
Yeah, that's right, yes. Okay. I think you're fresh out of material. Excellent work. Good work there, Jonathan. Woking, Ed.
Hello, Nick. Hi.
Ed.
So what I wanted to say is that I don't know who these people are shouting on our streets, jihad and whatever, but I think if these people are found out to be, I saw Robert Jenrick in the news said if they're asylum seekers and whatever, they'll be stripped of their right of abode in the UK. If these people are found out to be asylum seekers, right? So we, as British public, we're very welcoming of people who need to come and start a new life, come and start a better life, and to escape war-torn countries. But don't bring your violent rhetoric to the streets of London, right? If these people are found out to be, I don't know who they are, right? But if they are found out to be asylum seekers or people coming for a new, better life, then don't bring your violent rhetoric to London. They should be sent back to where they came from. We're happy to host people from all different areas of the globe, from war-torn countries who need a new home, but not when they're going to be shouting jihad in the streets and calling for I don't know what.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Ed. Collier's Wood. Hello, Sam.
Hi, how are we doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I think I agree with a couple of the points that, what was his name, Graham, just before me.
Mm-hmm.
I think this notion that Israel is targeting civilian targets only is just complete rubbish.
Well, who's saying that they're only targeting civilians? They're killing and injuring civilians, but I don't think anybody's suggesting that they're only doing that.
They are killing innocent civilians, and I don't care who you are. That's horrific, and there's no doubt about that. But what you've got to see is what Israel has experienced on the 7th of October is absolutely horrific. And yes, some of the things that Israel may have done in the last couple of weeks may not be acceptable, and there's no doubt about that. But this is war, and the most horrific things. I've got family over there. It's terrible what's going on.
Do you hear what you're saying? You're saying that the killing of 1,400 people was horrific, and it certainly was, and that the killing of 8,000 people on the other side of the wall is... Well, you didn't say that, though.
I have, and I completely agree with that. But on either side, people die because this is war. And I agree with a ceasefire, but can you really trust a terrorist organisation, which is what it is? I've heard you calling them militants this evening, which I believe is completely true.
I didn't do anything of the sort. I've only been on for 27 minutes.
I've heard you call them militants, and the news readers call them militants.
I didn't do anything of the sort.
I completely disagree with this statement of militants.
Okay, well, you can bring that up with the person that said it, which is not me. Bister. Hello, Phil.
Hello. Hello there.
Hello there.
Well, you're there, aren't you? Look. What was that woman smoking?
2 in a row on the Nicky Abbot show. Yes, Phil.
That woman that you were talking to.
I don't recall.
Never mind.
Yeah, never mind.
I've got a bone to pick with you.
That's what I heard, yeah.
Yeah. And this by-election, do you think Bono will lose?
Do I think Bono will lose?
Yes, Bono as well. And anybody that's called crispy and blunt deserves to be arrested
Okay. I'm almost certain that none of this is my fault. Hayes, Josh.
Hi, good evening.
Yes,
good
Josh.
Point. Also, I'd like to say that, earlier you were discussing that what the UK should do about it or what they're doing wrong. I think what the West is doing against what basically happened in Ukraine when Russia invaded, how the West backed Ukraine, and what this is, I think, genocide, what Israel is doing, and the West is not doing anything, and they're all standing with Israel, backing Israel with $8 billion. It's basically I do not see a difference between Israelis and the Nazis. It was the Nazis that killed 4, 5, 6 million Jews.
Do you mind? Okay.
To the Muslims?
All right. Do you mind if we don't go back to World War II? Can we just concentrate on what's happening now? Because once we get into a history lesson, then we'll be debating when history started from now until the end of time.
Sorry?
I can't repeat that again, Josh. Not at this time, and I'm sorry. I can only say it once. I'll just read this as it was written. It doesn't really require anything else from me. Boris Johnson had the wrong skill set to lead the country through the pandemic, leaving his senior aides exhausted by constantly changing his mind on crucial decisions.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
The Lee Kane, this is, the former Downing Street Director of Communications, told the inquiry the severity of the crisis required firm and constant leadership. Firm and constant leadership, which the former Prime Minister was unable to provide. Exactly what did he bring to the table? I mean, I'm keen to find out. What is it, apart from, that? Apart from that. The former senior aide described Johnson's words at a press conference in spring 2020 as, quotes, unhelpful, when the Prime Minister indicated that the UK could get the COVID virus under control within 12 weeks, as it set a very unrealistic expectation of where the nation needed to be at that point. Yeah, like I said, this nation needed to be in another country at that point. Another better run country that didn't have a clown as the premier. Like, pick any. Asked by the inquiry's lawyer whether he agreed with WhatsApp messages from Dominic Cummings, the former number 10 aide suggested that Johnson might not be up to... Asked by the inquiry's lawyer whether he agreed with WhatsApp messages from Dominic Cummings, the former top number 10 aide, that suggested that Johnson might not be up to the job, Kane said, "I think that's quite a strong thing to say." No, it's not strong enough. He should have been put in a straitjacket and dragged out of there by his hair. Lee Kane said, "I think what will probably be clear in COVID, it was the wrong crisis for this Prime Minister's skill set, which is different, I think, from not potentially being up to the job of being Prime Minister." No, it isn't. It is the same as not being up to the job of being Prime Minister. Are you kidding me? None of these people are going to go to jail. None of these people are going to be inconvenienced or bothered in any way, shape or form. They've got away with it. Got away with it. Been promoted, they have. Dominic Cummings spent hours being grilled by the COVID inquiry lawyers on Tuesday about his time in Number 10 during the pandemic and on the contents of explosive WhatsApp messages and emails. He said these were absolutely useless. I mean, what a bunch of monkeys. They could have done better than any of these people. He said, do you remember when people used to think that Dominic Cummings was a genius?
No.
Yeah. He actually was there in person, as opposed to Boris Johnson, who was only there in spirit, by which I mean... booze. Here's what that baseball-capped golem said about what was going on at the time when this country was experiencing its worst pain since we were at war and bombs were falling from the sky and food was rationed. You know, the good old days. Dominic Gollum said, "As the pandemic crisis unfolded in February of 2020... Boris Johnson went on holiday for a fortnight."
What?
Yeah. And he was little involved in government because he was extremely distracted during that time because he wanted to work on his Shakespeare book, which was never published. And he was trying to remember the name of the woman he was going to marry because he didn't want to call out the name of the woman he was trying to divorce after one of his up-all-night business meetings. Gollum said he had a divorce to finalise and was grappling with financial problems from that, plus his girlfriend Carrie Simmons' spending plans for the number 10 flat, and an ex-girlfriend, which was thought to refer to Jennifer Arcuri, was making accusations about him in the media, and his current girlfriend wanted to finalise the announcement of their engagement. Seriously, ladies, what is it about a millionaire who can't dress himself and has the body of a manatee that you find so attractive? Cummings texted Lee Kane, number 10's Director of Communications, in March 2020 to tell him that Johnson doesn't think COVID's a big deal. Well, it wasn't going to pay for the new curtains, so why would he pay any attention? Cummings told Johnson to stop shaking hands, but it prompted him to veer towards Mayor of Jaws mode, a reference to the film's mayor, who kept the beaches open despite the shark attacks. Idiot. He was going on TV and he was doing just that, shaking hands. He boasted about it. You know, that clown actually said, after being told that shaking hands was out because the virus spreads that way, he went on TV and said that he'd just gone to hospital stuffed with people with COVID and shook hands with everybody there. You will be delighted to hear, he said. We will be delighted to hear. That's what he said. You know, he actually used those words. I mean, as though we could give two about that. But it's worse than that, because Mr. Blobby asked top scientists, Sir Chris Whitty and Sir Patrick Vallance, if COVID could... I mean, there's just so many details in here that it's just hard to believe. We thought it was bad at the time, but it was actually much, much worse than we could possibly have imagined. The actual leader of this country asked two of our top scientists if COVID could be destroyed by blowing a special hairdryer up the nose.
What?
Yeah. I tell you what, maybe we could insert a special hairdryer up Boris's and blast him into space. The former senior political advisor, Gollum Cummings, described the moment as a low point. In amongst a whole field of low points. The Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, then circulated a YouTube video of a man using a hairdryer for that purpose, blowing a special hairdryer up his nose in order to kill COVID. There's nothing funny about it. And then he tried to kill the Queen. Boris Johnson tried to go and see the Queen in person on the 18th of March 2020 when he had COVID symptoms, rejecting advice from Cummings and an aide called Cleo Watson. Cummings wrote, I was desperate and said something like, if you've got COVID and you kill the Queen, you're finished. Number 10 denied the story. Well, of course they did. But is anyone believing anything that comes out of that building anymore?
No.
And anyway, I bet it still would not have finished his career. I mean, if he'd killed the Queen because he infected her with COVID, he'd still have got £1 million writing articles about morals and hosting programmes on pretend news channels, and the right-wing media would have blamed Jeremy blooming Corbyn for not infecting her sooner and giving her immunity. Thanks a lot, Jeremy Corbyn. You almost did for Her Majesty with your selfishness. No! Gollum then claimed that when Johnson insisted on workers going back to their offices in July 2021, he was under constant bombardment from his newspaper friends to get commuters back because it was hitting their profits. You can go ahead and scream now if you wish. Yeah, let it out. This government was basing its policies not on the science, like they said they were, but on whether offshore tax-avoiding media mogul billionaires' profit margins were going up or down. I mean, even in an international emergency, it's all about the money, honey. Cummings claimed that as the pandemic escalated, Johnson was spending time on irrelevant or, in his words, frankly, alarming things, including meeting Evgeny Lebedev, the owner of the Evening Standard, to discuss his peerage and bunging cash to the newspaper in the form of advertising spending. Cummings said, I thought it was an extremely bad idea. Blimey, even with his eyes, he could see that. Gollum also said that Johnson had asked him to find a dead cat to get the pandemic off the front pages because he was sick of it. Oh, he was bored. Poor Bodger. And as for the celebrity TV contestant, once known as the health secretary, Gollum said that Matt Bloomin' Hancock constantly lied and that he had told the PM to sack him on multiple occasions. Senior officials also told Johnson that leaving Hancock in post guaranteed further disasters and deaths in the autumn and winter. He claimed that if he had been replaced, thousands would have survived. But hey, what's thousands of dead people as opposed to making Boris Johnson, actually do something for the benefit of the nation as opposed to himself? Yes. I mean, the detail, the excruciating detail just came thick and fast, mostly thick. Cummings claimed that he'd been told about the Abbot party in the Downing Street flat celebrating his departure. And that after he left Downing Street, officials told him that the management of Number 10 collapsed and the parties became routine. Blimey, it takes something for an organisation to be worse after Mr. I drive around in public to test my eyes leaves it. And then there was Bodger's girlfriend. Which one, I hear you cry? Well, the one that is his current wife. The one that we don't at present know if he's cheated on or not. Cummings claimed that the Cabinet Secretary and senior private office officials shared his concern that the PM's then fiancée, Carrie Simmons, was exacerbating the trolley problem. That is, Blobby's tendency to change his mind, depending on his audience and how much applause and love it will get him. He said after the PM went upstairs in the evening and texted, sometimes contradicting things he'd just agreed to, staff often worried, is it him or is it her? Sometimes he'd come down in the morning and contradict himself again, saying, oh, ignore that, Carrie was going crackers. Wow. I mean, it's funny, but it's really not funny. Cummings claimed she was often blamed by Johnson for U-turns that were not her fault. In November of 2020, the PM suggested that she get a job with the royal family and take lots of foreign travel to get her out of our hair. Wow. You wait till she hears this. And now we're here. And the same catastrophic clown show is still running the shop. All the major players have either been promoted or they're earning multiples of their salaries when they were in office. Absolutely none of them have been punished in any way, and billions of pounds of our money has been spirited off to those with suspiciously close connections to the regime. And they're still telling us that they have our best interests at heart. Kennington, hello, Graham.
Hello, good evening.
Graham.
It was an interesting callers you've had tonight.
Yeah.
I just want to check, are we a capitalist country or are we a, socialist, communist, planned economy country?
Well, there's a bit of both.
Okay, cool, because I think I lean towards being a bit of a capitalist, having grown up with absolutely nothing, spent time in a children's home, done every job known to man, lived on my own from my 18th birthday in a flat, finding the money for the rent, the bills, studying at the same time, and generally making a fist of it.
Okay, well, good for you. Good for you. But hang on a minute. Good for you, but what's your point?
My point is that I think that when I hear people justifying, rationalising and looking for what I would say is the excuse not to do whatever it is needs to be done, and relying upon a government or governments that come and go, it's not going to happen. It's structural. You're not going to get a local government policy, having been where the local government was my legal guardian. You're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. It's structural. To go to work, it is embarrassing that people go to work and they don't have enough to put food on the table, because when they work hard, the fruits of their labour end up with shareholders. That's structural. That's much bigger than having a local food bank. That's not going to work. So I think that hanging about relying on that. You have to, it's not a good idea. If you've got the gumption to be able to study, you get the gumption to be able to, to change. You must be able to put food on the table. I don't buy that it's not possible.
Well, then you're denying reality. What you're saying is, I'm all right. I was lucky enough to make it, and anybody else who is not similarly lucky, well, that's their fault. That's a pretty unpleasant thought, I think you're expressing there, Graham. I can't say I agree with you at all. Belfast, Ian.
Hello, Nick. Was that a judge, yeah?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I'd say not.
Okay.
I would just say not. If you can't work that one out from what that was saying.
Anyway.
No, it's actually a lady sort of stole my thunder a while back there, about coming from war-torn country. If you were coming from one, you'd be happy enough, and as you said, they're staring at four walls, but as that guy in Perth says, you're not stuck in like you are in prison. You're allowed out. You go over, you can go where you want. There's a lot of homeless people. We take a barge or a hotel over a cardboard box. Why don't the government lift 1,000 of them, put them in hotels and barges? I'm sure they wouldn't moan too much,
Well,
so
I'm not entirely sure that's. It'd be better in the short term.
It's feasible.
Yes, but
yeah.
I mean, a tent would be better than no tent. But it doesn't mean to say you want to live your life in one.
Yeah, but a hotel or a barge isn't a tent. People living in the street are living in a tent. I'm sure they don't want to live in one. You're right, but they'd rather have a hotel with 3 meals a day, and and you get fed in a box.
But not permanently though. And if you've been there for a year and you still have no date for your case to be seen, then it must feel permanent. I mean, people talk about hotels, but their experience of a hotel is going in and then leaving in 2 weeks. If you were still there in a year, then that hotel room might not seem as attractive as it first did. Ilford. Hello, Christine.
Hello.
Christine.
Yes, I'm going to volunteer next time to be the next Mayor of London. Have you ever tried to get onto the council about the roads?
No.
They used to clean the drains with a great big cleaner that went right down.
Oh yeah, suck it all up.
Doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
And
But that's not the council though, is it? That's not the council though, is it?
Yeah,
the drains.
It's the local council.
I thought it was the water companies.
Well, whoever it is, they're not doing it.
Well, yeah, the water
Right.
companies, yeah.
And what they're doing is my whole street has been concreted over with people wanting their cars on right next to their house. Now, if that isn't
hang on a minute,
causing flooding
hang on. Your street has been concreted over?
in people's houses, yes.
Oh, you mean their front drive, well, the little grassy
where
knoll
their
outside?
cars go.
Right, I got it.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to be the next MP here, the next Mayor of London.
Is that right?
They haven't done anything. Every street in England has been concreted in front of their houses.
Yeah.
It's going to flood.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
It's not good for the
So where's the economy
environment.
MP then?
Where's the what
Where's
now?
the why doesn't he look at it?
Who?
Why doesn't the economist look at it?
The
MP
economist?
for the economy.
Not the economy. What's the word she's looking for? It's not economy. It's God. Now my brain's stuck. It's
Economist.
What is it?
Economist.
You mean ecology?
Ecology?
No. It's the one that looks after what we're doing to Britain.
Yep. Oh, I know what they're doing.
Flooding it all over
Yeah.
with stupid people.
Yeah, I know
who
what
are on the council.
I know what they're
and
doing to
letting-
Britain.
Yeah,
It's not pretty.
Do you know how much it is to concrete your front of your house? And drop
6?
the curb?
Is it 6?
£1,000 to drop the curb.
£1,000? What? To drop the curb, just so you can park on what used to be a lovely grassy patch outside your front door.
Or garden, yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's flooded.
Right.
Serve them right.
Is that right?
Well, perhaps they'll wake up, eh?
Yeah. Hey, wake up. It's later than you think. Quite right, Christine. I want you to keep your eyes peeled at all times. Good work. Cheers, my dear. She slammed the phone down. She was so angry. Fury as road in Ilford gets concreted. I swear, every single story in the Daily Mail these days starts Fury as. I know I've mentioned that several times, but you'll notice it. If you hadn't noticed it previously, you'll notice it now. Just look on the Mail Online. Every other story is Fury as. Fury as cat is described as cute. That cat's not cute. That cat should kill itself, says the top-rated comment. Fury as. The intention is to keep you permanently angry. And I would imagine that the reason for that changes from day to day. At the moment, the reason that they want you to be angry at things other than what you've been looking at in the news this week is that they don't want you to concentrate on what an absolute shower this government have been during the course of the most perilous time that we've had since the Second World War, when we were led by Mr. Blobby.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And the other appalling individuals that did their best to kill the lot of us. They don't want you to concentrate on any of that. All of that stuff about Matt Hancock wanted to decide who lived and who died. I mean, can you imagine what that would have looked like? You, not you, you, going around in like a hooded cloak with a staff pointing at people. That one. God, it doesn't bear thinking about it, does it? Awful. And, Mr. Blobby himself, that catastrophic clown show that used to be running this country, who is yet to give his evidence, but I'll sum it up for you.
This is complete nonsense.
Complete nonsense. That is what he would say. He'll come on angry and annoyed that anybody has the impertinence to ask him any questions. Because he's not that jovial, paw, that fella. That's not who he is. That's the act. That's not who he is. Every single one of them should be in jail, being thrashed on a regular basis. But they won't go to jail, as I keep saying. They will go to the House of Lords. Of course they will. Scotland, Ewan.
Hiya, Nick.
Ewan.
Good evening. Are you there?
Yes, are you there?
Basically, somebody is, but I don't aware. The artificial intelligence thing, I think the local councils could do with replacing the workers and getting artificial intelligence brought in, because some of their brains are a bit away with the fairies.
Right. Okay, well, thanks for the update, mate. Away with the fairies, eh?
The little people. But it ain't like you think. It ain't leprechauns, don't you see?
It's fairies, yeah, we know. Manchester, hello, Sam.
Yeah, all right.
Sam.
Yeah, I just want to say that I think your perspective on this is totally deranged, frankly. Because if you think about it, a country, if you want to call it a country, a government attacks someone else, it's logical warfare to go and attack them back. And warfare is civilians die. You look at the United States fighting Japan. Japan kept on attacking the United States. So the United States dropped an atom bomb which killed about 45,000 people.
Right. So
that was warfare.
But do you agree with that? Was that a good thing to do?
It's not about agreeing or not agreeing. It's about criticising.
I thought you were putting that up as a positive.
No, I was saying you can't criticise a country when that is the logistics of warfare.
I think you can criticise a country.
You can't, because that's the acceptable thing to do.
But it's not dropping a nuclear bomb on a city is not an acceptable thing to do. Not now. Not ever.
In those circumstances, 100% it was.
Well, I'm not sure that there's very many people that would agree with that, Sam. What about the second nuclear bomb that went off?
I'm not too sure in the entire history of the whole. Wait, can I just say another point? It's in regards to the UN. Yeah, you mentioned about back at the UK, should it back the UN or of this sort? I just want to mention the UN has had an incredible history of the past 10, 15 years to be outright anti-Israel, yeah? You can't go and ask the UK.
What's your evidence that the UN is anti-Israel?
Well, just come on, go on the internet and have a look on their remarks regarding Israel. Type in...
What is it that occurs to you that made you say that?
Just type into Google.
Okay, you want me to do homework? All right. I'm not going to. I'm not going to construct your argument for you, Sam. Aylesbury, Sarah. Sarah.
Hello.
Oh, just in time.
Hello.
Yes, Sarah.
Hi. Hello, Nick. Hello.
Yes. This is going really well so far, Sarah. Let me say it again.
Hello.
Yes.
Am I on air, Nick?
For a very, very brief period, yes.
Right, okay. Two things.
Well, let's see what the first one's like first, shall we? Let's not get carried away.
So, the storm, the rainstorm.
Yeah.
I'm very confused
wrong kind of
about the different names. Babbitt, Bebbit, blah, blah, blah. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But it's very clever because one of my favourite films is Rain Man.
Is that right?
Yeah, with Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman.
Not a lot of rain in Rain Man.
No, but he was called Charlie Babbitt, wasn't he?
Babbitt, yeah.
And I was confused
No kidding.
with Babbitt, and every
Babbitt.
time I heard about the storm,
Mm-hmm.
I kept saying, have you watched the film?
Is that what you were saying every time you heard the storm?
No, have you actually watched the film
is
Rain Man?
Is this an aside? Yes. Yes, I have watched the film Rain Man. Not enough.
Charlie Babbitt, Charlie Babbitt, Charlie Babbitt, Charlie Babbitt.
Not enough rain for my liking.
I know.
I was
And the other thing
expecting a lot more rain, frankly. Disappointed.
And the other thing is
And
the
another
snails.
thing. Yeah.
Okay? I'm very environmental friendly in my garden.
Yes.
I've got bee hotels.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a hedgehog box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
What did you just say? What did you just say?
You're environmental. Yes, at least we can agree on that.
With
Carry on.
animals and things, yeah. So my local wildlife hospital
Your what?
always bring me some hedgehogs to put in my box to hibernate.
Right.
Okay?
I am
So,
restraining myself as we speak. Carry on.
Okay.
I can
so
only
this
do that for so long.
I know. So this time of the year, the hedgehogs need feeding up, okay?
What do they eat?
Slugs and snails.
Oh, God.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine?
I know.
Ugh.
But during the summer, when I've got my nice little plants about,
Mm-hmm.
when the hedgehogs don't need to be in my box and they go off and do their own thing, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Whatever hedgehogs do in their spare time. Yeah.
I have picked up a huge snail.
And giving it to it.
No.
Oh.
No, because they go and disperse in the summer.
Yeah.
I've thrown it over my next door neighbour's fence.
Right. Well, as long as you throw it to 20 metres away, Sarah, it'll never come back. All right.
I've literally just thrown it over my next door neighbour's fence.
Yeah, you said that. And I said, if you throw it 20 metres, it won't come back. Guaranteed. You know, if I was a hedgehog and I had to get up every morning just as the sun is rising, and my day would be rooting out slugs and eating them, I think I'd take one of my longer spines and stab myself to death with it. Thanks a lot, Sarah. That was an education. Perth, Mike.
Hello, Nick. Hey, now, I'm going to test your memory here. I spoke to you about a year ago about two of the largest hotels in Perth had been, if you like, commandeered for asylum seekers. Well, they're still there. They're still there. About 100 in each of each hotel. One of them had just been refurbished at that time to the tune of about £2 million to put en suite accommodation. And now one of the local papers actually furnished us with details about how they would live at the time. 3 square meals a day. They'd get free free Wi-Fi, TV, obviously, but they'd also get access to the college. They'd get free bike if they wanted one, free leisure facilities, free bus passes. The list goes on. Now, I heard the young lady talking about how poorly they were fed and malnutrition, one thing and another.
Yeah.
I happen to stay on the road between these hotels, and the colleges are actually just up the road from me. Just literally maybe a few hundred yards. But so they pass my front window. I don't watch them intentionally, but I see them. I see them, all fit young men, and I'll tell you something. They're better. They've got better clothes than I, more modern clothes than I have. Of course, I'm just an old fogey anyway. But they certainly don't look like they're malnourished, laughing and joking. They're entitled to laugh and joke. Why not? But they have many of them in their noses, as young men are, into their modern phones. So, no, they have now, if you were in such a situation, and having that sort of a year in, and that sort of attention and lifestyle, would you want to be transferred to a barge? And would you do anything not to be transferred into that barge?
But the situation you just described, people staying in that hotel for a year, I mean, that's the government's fault, surely, not their fault. They would, I'm sure, prefer to be out there earning money to further afford their luxurious lifestyle that you've just described, with their clothes and their phone and so on. They don't want to be beholden to the government for £9 a week or whatever it is that they get. How can the government claim that they're on top of this and they're dealing with this to the best of their ability when people are just sitting there twiddling their thumbs for a year, not able to work?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. But then again, the other side of the coin is that look, these lads are living there. Well, they've got a good life. They've got, as I say, free leisure facilities, free. Don't have to worry about. Listen, this is the. If you like, the bugbear for old farts like myself. They don't have to worry about. I mean, I said to my wife earlier today, is it no time to put the heating on? She said, just not quite yet. I thought, okay then.
Yeah, but what you're describing, and I understand what you're saying, Mike, but what you could also describe somebody in prison, like a prisoner, in the same way. They get 3 meals a day, their cells are heated, they have leisure facilities, they got TV, all of these things. But it doesn't change the fact that they're still in prison.
Yeah, these lads are able to come and go, though. They're free to come and go.
Not
That's
quite.
the difference.
Not quite free. No, they're not free to work, are they?
Well, if you're getting everything laid on a plate, would you want to work?
Absolutely, yes.
Well,
if my income was £9 a week, and I was a young man, fit and motivated enough to make an arduous, difficult, and dangerous journey to get here, then of course I'd want to work, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I totally agree, and I totally agree with the fact that I don't understand. I just do not understand why the government. I mean, surely it must be worth their while to, even if it means employing 1,000 new processors. Surely that would be cheaper than keeping all these lads in the hotels.
So you have to ask yourself why the government isn't doing that. Why they would spend more on keeping people, almost indefinitely it seems, in hotels in the manner you've described, rather than spending a smaller amount of money and employing people to actually get through their cases. And
don't understand that.
Well,
don't understand that at all.
Well, then,
that's the situation in Perth, Nick. It's these lads who walk past my thing, but they're certainly not malnourished anyway.
All right. Well, at least they aren't where you're living. Good to know. Thanks, Mike. So you have to ask yourself why the government is doing that, because they've made a choice to spend more money on not fixing the problem. And the only explanation I can find is that they're spending your money in order to make you angry. I'd be willing to hear your explanation if you can think of an alternative. Swindon, hello, Carrie.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, all right. I didn't expect you to talk to me before it gets too late.
Hello, Carrie.
Listen, I thought what in actual fact should happen is there should be, for anybody who is homeless, there should be tents, good sleeping bags that they are provided with, and safe places where they can put their tents up.
Yeah, like a house.
In security. No, like a park, which is out of the way of the public.
Not
or something.
outside. If they can build those Nightingale hospitals in about 3 seconds flat, then they can put one of those things back up. Because, I mean, we've still got all of that stuff. I don't know where they keep it. But, it folds down to about the size of a matchbox. And they can put one of those back up and put all of the homeless people in there.
Yeah, that is even more amazing, though. But that is something that I can't believe that is the first place tonight that idea has come.
Yeah.
Someone should have thought of that a long time ago.
I know. Well, yeah, exactly right. Somebody should have asked me. I'd have told them.
Yeah. Well, what are we going to do?
I don't know. We'll sit here twiddling our thumbs until we get to vote in the next general election. And then I would imagine that 60% of the people that can vote won't be bothered. And I think that those who believe that the Labour Party is going to soar into number 10 on a wind and a wave are going to be seriously disappointed. This is a tweet by Catherine Birbal Singh, as reprinted in The Guardian. I am sending this complaint letter to M&S. We should all be complaining, says Catherine Birbal Singh, Britain's strictest head teacher. This is a fight for everything we should believe in. Do not sit this one out. Write a letter of complaint about that advert. 2 exclamation marks. You know, like a Britain's strictest head teacher would do. 2 exclamation marks? She's a teacher. And then it just goes on. I feel compelled to write to you to express my deep disappointment and outrage at your Christmas advert for 2023. You have a duty as our national department store to keep the spirit of Christmas alive for the sake of our children. When our nation is on its knees, trying to keep our spirits high for what we can all achieve together, this is not the time for you to encourage people to ignore the inspirational spirit of Christmas, of self-sacrifice and gratitude, and giving of one's time and finances to help one's fellow man, of children's laughter, of magical tales of Father Christmas, of kindness and beauty, and instead tells us to do whatever we want for ourselves. Oh my... Are you kidding me? Is this a joke? She was honoured at Buckingham Palace last month with a CBE for services to education. This whole country's lost its mind. Every other headline in the Mail these days starts "Fury as." Have you noticed? They really are trying to make you angry about the most inconsequential and stupid little things. And now she's having a cow about a blooming advert on the telly. Like anybody cares. I saw that advert today. It didn't make me furiously angry. It didn't make me think that God was being dissed. She actually brings God up at the end. Oh, God. She says, how can you do this to our country at such a time as this? Shame on you. So many exclamation marks. You'd think that if a teacher read that, she would get a D and asked to see her after school. It's like she's loaded up a blunderbuss with exclamation marks and just blasted it out of the page. How can you do this to our country at such a time as this? Shame on you. May God or Allah or Vishnu take pity on you.
What?
That's what she says. Wow. I mean, is she also writing a letter to the Home Office about the more than 1,000 Afghans in the UK who are being made homeless days before Christmas? Is she writing a letter about that?
No.
Not that I've seen, anyway. Maybe she is. The local government association revealed that the number of at-risk Afghans, which includes families, after the Home Office last week imposed a new deadline of the 15th of December. That is the Home Office, under the rule of a woman so exquisitely nasty, she could be the baddie in a Disney cartoon. Cruella de Vil without the laughs. Meanwhile, new data reveals that more than 5,200 Ukrainian families are now receiving homelessness support, with 4,350 defined as homeless after relationships with UK families they were staying with broke down. Well, who could have seen that coming? During a meeting on Thursday, council leaders pressed the Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick for more resources to help accommodate Afghans and Ukrainians. And guess how much he offered? That's right, zero. Nothing. The local government association says some Afghans who served UK interests in Afghanistan could already be sleeping rough, having been moved out of hotels by this government more than 2 years ago after being evacuated from Kabul. Right. So, just to recap, Afghans who, at great risk to themselves and their families and everyone they knew, helped our troops in Afghanistan with translation and local knowledge, and the few that we did allow to come here, as opposed to refusing them, essentially killing them, are now on the streets as we have abandoned them. And just to rub it in, we're doing it at Christmas, the time of giving, in order that the government can tell us that they are saving public money, which they will do from the bedroom of the private jet they get us to pay for, so they don't have to slum it in first class when they go on one of their many fact-finding holidays. So in a future war in a foreign place, as we are most certainly going to have, you know, whenever America tells us to, approximately how many locals will be rushing forward to help us out?
And one?
Yeah, probably one. If we're lucky, we'll find one person who hasn't read the papers and doesn't know what we're like. And this is what the country's strictest headmistress is concentrating on. A bloomin' Marks and Spencer Christmas advert. She says, I looked to the heavens and asked that you be visited by the three ghosts who can perhaps shine a light on your duty to help pave the way for our children to learn how to live a life filled with more with giving rather than taking. Please take that advert down. Try again. You can do better. Please take that tweet down, Catherine Burble Singh. Try again. You can do better. So I've just been I've just been looking at the... I thought, you know, after I read that tweet, I thought, I wonder what people have been saying about that tweet. It's very, very educational, I think. I think Britain's strictest head teacher would appreciate the educational value of looking at the comments underneath her tweet. It's exactly as I predicted. Robbie Scowls says, this is probably the weirdest thing I've seen this week, and there is stiff competition. Kelly Jackson says LMAO with two hysterically laughing emojis. I don't know what you would call that, but there's tears coming out their eyes. She's LMAOing. She's she's LH her AO. Yeah. Stussy says, it's like all the cringe gathered together for just this tweet. That sounds like something kids would say. Oh, it's like total cringe, man. They probably wouldn't say man, though, would they? Craig says, are you okay? And putting a bit more thought into it, a bloke called Alex Richards says, if you think children at your school listen more to a playful M&S Christmas ad than you or your teachers, then the problem is probably at your end. Anyway, I thought you were against virtue signalling and cancel culture and pro-independent thinking and freedom of speech, etc.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right. I cannot believe it. I mean, I've got to agree with Robbie Scowls. That is the weirdest thing I've seen this week, with stiff competition. Budge?
I can't comment on that.
Yeah.
Blah,
blah, blah, blah, blah. I say make her Prime Minister. I mean, let's give it a go. Why not? Harrow. Jonathan. Harrow.
Good evening, Nick.
Oh, it's you. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry to call you on 2 consecutive days.
So am I.
No, come on, listen to me. I apologise, because I try not to, because you're very popular now.
Yes. What do you mean now?
But I've got a few pressing problems, not to bring the mood down.
Yeah.
My kitchen, it's raining.
Is it?
My kitchen keeps flooding, and the plugs are getting covered in water.
The plugs are getting covered in water.
And this could be, I was thinking it was a one-off, but do you think I should call a man?
No, I think you should turn the taps off.
No, it's from the nices. It's from the rooftop.
Yeah, right, so your plugs are getting covered in water from the rain that's coming through the roof.
The electric plugs, yeah.
Oh, the electric plugs. Oh, well, that's different. What have you done?
Well, I'm struggling financially, so I just rent 1 3-bedroom house.
Yes.
And the landlord, they obviously aren't here until the Monday.
Right.
This is not my main point. I want to talk about the M&S, but I had to say this to get it off my chest. I used to have a man who came to help with thingies.
Help with what now?
The thing is, the fat man who was extorting me.
The fat man that was escorting you?
No, extorting.
Spell it?
Oh, come on. ECTORRTING.
No.
No, it's serious. So when the last time I came, because everyone is struggling in this credit climate.
Yes.
He said to me, after I asked him to do things to my bathroom, he said to me, can I put tenants in 2 of your spare rooms?
Right.
So I had to lie to him, and I said that my mother's taken over the property, so I can't bring him back. But anyway, this is causing me tension, because I'm worried I might burn to death.
Right.
But the main point, can I say about the M&S?
Okay.
Because I called you yesterday, and I wasn't able to. I hadn't seen the advert. Oh my God! It is so ultra feminist.
Ultra what now?
It is ultra feminism.
Feminism.
I was trying to get on to the talk show of one of your other presenters who was talking about this, but I couldn't get through.
No, they won't take your call. No.
I actually spoke to one of the evening chaps, and he got very angry because I kept calling him Tom, and he shouted at me and said, "I'm not Tom Swarbrick." It's true.
Who was it? No idea.
Richard Kerr.
Right.
Yeah, Richard Kirk. But he got angry with me. But
yeah.
The point is,
well, I'm thinking about getting angry with you myself. Carry on.
It's so. Oh my God! I don't want to say wokey again.
Mm-hmm.
But this advert, I'm not a racist.
But?
Well, I'm ethnic minorities, I can say this. There was no white men until the end of the video.
Right. And that was Santa.
And it was all women, because I don't have a sexist bone in my body.
But,
no, come on. Why is this country now? Why is this country always pushing this narrative of, I'm a strong, independent woman, and I can do what I want because it is my boundaries, and it's like the Meghan Markle.
Jonathan, I want you to shout it out. Be proud and loud. You are a strong, independent woman. Say it.
No, I'm a masculine man.
Well,
but it is pushing a narrative, and people are starting to wake up, and that's why, because there is no anti-wokey alternative, that's why you've got people like the Cruella Braithwaite, who is making me sick. That is. It's shocking. True.
Yeah.
No, it is. But the thing is, you can't have every video advert where it's like, oh, look, I'm a woman. I can break the Christmas tree and put it in the flower. I can be an independent. They call it a bad bath girl.
A bad what?
A bad bath girl. B-O-S, like your employer.
Right.
B-O-S girl, bad bath girl, because It's like
I have no
arm in
idea.
power
I have
on-
no idea what that means. Please don't tell me.
No, it's an American term. It's like and it's making the woman angry. And then also, just to top it all off, I can't go into London for my visa application because the lefties are just marching every day.
You can't go into London for your what?
So I'm trying to get to Philadelphia.
Yes.
But I'm worried if I leave, my house will burn down.
Right. Well, I think the best thing for you to do is to wet the end of your fingers and stick them in a socket and see what happens. Can you try that for me?
I'm not going to do that.
No?
I'm not going to do that. But I stand up for the traditional family and masculine men, not this wokey culture chap.
Cokey, yeah.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, not the wokey cokey. Yeah, I get it.
It's destroying this country, and people are not going to go. They are not going to go to the Sainsbury's. Now, who was the advert? They're not going to go. People are waking up. You can't do this. You can't oppress them and try and make all of the men wear little, skirts and things.
Right. Well,
Can't do it.
You are the very model of a modern masculine man, Jonathan. You got me convinced.
You got to try and push again. If you get callers who call up and say, "Oh, this advert is fine," you say to them, "No, listen, there are some traditions, and you can't just go say the people who talk about boundaries are the most toxic, like the Meghan Markle. She doesn't talk to her old daddy. She doesn't for no reason."
Yeah. Well, listen, I hope that you manage to get your visa and leave the country as soon as possible. That's
Okay,
my
thank you. Have a good night.
that's my hope. Here's a call in Westcliff-on-Sea. Stuart.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
This is a really weird thing I'm going to say. I work for a construction company, and in West London, we rented out an apartment with some office floors above us. And over the period of 3 months, people were moving in some white plastic containers and spreading them all around the floors on the open plan offices. Apparently, I went up there, and I shouldn't have done, but apparently these boxes had escargot written on them. So I phoned the facilities management company, and they said, yeah, they're boxes of snails. And I said, what the hell are hundreds of boxes of snails being distributed across all the open plan offices above here? And they said, it's a way we can get around with not paying the council tax because we're doing an environmentally proper scenario, then we don't have to pay the full council tax. Now, I know this might sound a very ridiculous...
Hang on a minute. Hang on. Back up. So
somebody needs to tell me that is true. I'm telling you the facts.
All right, well, wait a minute. Hang on. Now, how does having boxes of escargot... And I presume that means that they're for eating, right?
Well, I honestly don't know. I just know they were laying there at 2 metre intervals, big boxes of snails. I don't know if they're for eating or whatever they're for.
Were they alive?
Yes.
They were
100%.
So they were boxes with the lid on.
100%.
With presumably little holes in so that they could breathe.
Yep.
And they had them in their office so that they could pay less tax.
Yes, that's what I was told. So my question to you is somebody else needs to phone in and go, that's absolutely a way of avoiding paying empty floor space tax because you're doing something environmentally correct.
It doesn't sound very environmentally correct.
No, I totally agree. It does not sound correct, but all I can say is factually, 100% I'm telling you the truth. But
well, if it helps, the message from my glamorous assistant next door, he's just written on the screen, "This is true."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I find that really strange because it was eerie walking through an open plan office and seeing hundreds of these little plastic boxes just sitting there on the floor, and you look at it and think, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And then when I contacted the management company, they went, oh, no, it's all perfectly legal. We're just avoiding paying tax because environmentally we're putting something back into the environment to breed snails. Now, whether they're for consumption or not, I've got no idea.
But that's honestly, that's not bringing them into the environment. That's putting them in a plastic tub in an office block. How's that helping?
Absolutely. No, listen, I totally agree. I have got absolutely no idea.
Let me ask you about this.
That's all about.
Let me ask you a question. What does a plastic tub full of snails smell like?
Well, if you put a bit of garlic on them, I could actually, I would probably, I'd probably deal with it.
Yeah.
But if I'm honest, no, there was no smell.
Right.
There was no smell. But I just find that whole thing, I mean, snails, you can't really make a fantastic radio show out of snails.
No.
But from that particular comment I've just made about why they're all lying in plastic boxes all about. I mean, fantastic. Your producers can go online and maybe say that, yes, this is a totally legal thing.
I
but
have the detailed facts in front of my eyeballs right now, and I'll lay it on you in just some moments. So are they still there?
Yeah, they're there. I looked. I saw them yesterday.
So they're not actually doing anything with them. They're just sitting there.
They're just sitting there. A lorry pulled up about 4 weeks ago, and I reckon 100 boxes were taken out and just laid out across the open plan office, and then the lorry drove off, and then I would say a couple of weeks ago another lorry pulled up and took another load of them away. So
so they just sit there presumably until they die?
Well, no, I think they're breeding them.
Oh.
I think that it's a commercial industry.
How do you breed snails?
I have got absolutely no idea. I didn't feed them.
What does a good-looking snail look like for a start?
Well, one covered in garlic, as I said.
Well, yeah, but that's to us. Other snails might not think that.
I would. Honestly, I would love to know exactly what this is all about, because I cannot believe that the office I'm working in, the office block with the empty space I'm working in, is the only office block that this is happening in. So somebody must be able to phone in and say, yeah, this is a tax dodge.
Well, I am stunned. That's the silliest thing I've ever heard in my life.
What I'm telling you is absolute fact.
I believe you.
And I would love to know exactly why owners of these office blocks are filling their floors out with snails. Plastic boxes, breeding. Honestly, I'm telling you the facts. I don't know the truth.
Now, did they to breed a snail? Did they take individual snails out of the boxes and I don't know, give them a dinner and a movie? Or did they just let them get on with it inside the box?
Well, they have got a big TV screen on the wall. I don't know if they turn that on at some point during the night and say, look, guys, have a look at this. But no, the whole thing is just, it's like Twilight Zone. The whole thing to me just sounds it just sounds so weird. It just doesn't look right to me.
Spooky. Did they make a noise? The plastic boxes of snails make a noise?
No.
Right. So no smell, no noise.
Absolutely no noise.
How many snails were in a box?
It says in French. It's got 50, and then like a C thing. So I'm assuming 50 in a box, and there must be 100 boxes on the floor.
That's too weird. So the French are sending us snails. They're taking them. We're taking snails from French dinner plates, and we're putting them in office blocks because no one in this country actually wants to eat them.
Well, you know, I'm laughing because I do not know. I've got no idea what this is all about. I don't know where the commercial profit is coming from this.
Yeah.
We haven't got restaurants in this country that have got hundreds of snails being sold every week. Yeah. So I do not know. I personally, and I'm throwing this out there, somebody might phone in, I think this is a tax dodge.
Yeah. Have you ever eaten snails?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have eaten them, and I don't particularly like them.
I like the
I have
butter.
eaten them.
I like the garlic butter they come with. But you have to sort of prepare yourself for the actual snail part. But soaking up the garlic butter with a nice piece of bread.
No, as I said, garlic, yes, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
But I hope somebody can phone in and just say to you, yes, this is not a commercial snail marketing thing we're doing. It is a tax dodge.
Well, I have
think it's a tax dodge.
I have detail files that have just been presented to me, and I'll go through them in from start to finish after this news break. Isn't it exciting?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for the news, Stuart. Guildford. Hello, Jonathan.
Hi, man. Right, first of all, shall I get the silly comedy out the way first?
No
The
comedy.
the weather. So, Storm Keira Knightley is heading soon.
Right, like I said, no comedy. If that is indeed what that was.
Right, sensible stuff is I had a ex-girlfriend for 9.5 years from Bosnia, 1994. I was listening to Nirvana. She had to leave the country, go to Italy. She ended up in England, and she works in pharmacovigilance. It's a highly paid job, and she picked up Tony Blair.
Okay, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. I wonder if you do. Here's a call in beautiful Weybridge. Hello, Seema.
Hello, Nick. How are you today?
I am great, mate.
Good. So I sent you a text about 10 days ago.
Oh, yes.
And your response to that text was, you do it first, and then I'll do it.
And what was the it?
Christmas decorations.
Oh.
So, the Christmas tree is up. The lights are up.
Are they?
The Christmas lanterns are out. The talking Santa is out. The climbing Santas are out.
The talking Santa? Can I just back up a second? What does the talking Santa say?
He said, I don't know if I've got a battery in him right now, but he says, remember, the joy of Christmas lies in your heart.
Wow, that sounds like a threat. I would put that robot in a box and put something heavy on top of it if I were you.
Oh, yeah, and then I've got a dancing Christmas tree.
A dancing Christmas tree?
Yeah, you want to?
Yeah.
You want to hear the dancing Christmas tree?
Probably not, but I think I'm going to anyway.
Okay, one sec. Here he is.
I like it so far. It's completely silent.
I know, he's not working. I think my niece took the batteries out. Hang on. No, he's not working.
Right.
He sings Rocking Around the Christmas Tree.
Well,
and
you
around.
say that, but there is no evidence that he does that.
Oh, let me see. He does, I promise.
Right.
Yeah, it does. And then also all the window decals are up. The snowflakes, the Christmas trees, again, some singing Santas.
Right. I think you've gone too far.
No.
I mean, have you put absolutely everything up now?
Yeah, I have. And I put the lights on.
Is it a real tree or a fake tree?
No, it's not a real tree.
Not a real tree. Okay. Because if it was a real tree, it would be drooping in about 2 weeks' time, and it would look like a real sad state by Christmas. So that's a good idea.
No, it's not a real tree.
Right.
It's but it looks real. The only thing that I haven't put up outside is the Santa, please stop here postman. I don't think my neighbours would be very happy with that.
Exactly. Yeah. Keep your shame hidden from the rest of the street.
So I've done it. It's your turn now, Nick.
All right. Give me a while. Thanks a lot, Seema. Another satisfied customer. Let's have Northolt. John.
Hi.
Yes, John.
Right. So I'll tell you off speaker. Oh, the NHS thing, it wasn't about that. Right. I was in a bar. This is in Hammersmith, right? This is a surprise to me. I've been to this bar quite a lot.
A bar? Booze? Yes.
A booze bar. Oh, stupid phone. I miss this phone. It's rubbish. Anyway, I was in this bar, right? I wanted the toilet, right? And my missus was outside. She didn't want to go in. It's too busy. A lot of people dressed in Halloween costumes.
Oh, right. Those people.
She was like, just pop out. And I went downstairs, and they've got CCTV notice on the door.
Of the toilet?
Right? Yeah, saying, CCTV is in operation to prevent crime and whatever else. So I go in, and I'm thinking, this is a bit strange, because I was here last week, and there was none of this. there was a bit of heavy security, maybe because the kids are off school or whatever. But anyway, I go from the toilet, I do my business. It's only a pee, nothing to report. I'm not dealing anything like that.
Okay. Yes.
So I get it over with, right? And I go and wash my hands because and I notice there's little pod cameras you see in the little white things. You might have them in your office. You see them all over the place. And that's their camera
in the toilet.
I'm not making it up. I just wonder if you've come across that in there.
I've never heard the like in my life. They've got cameras in the toilet.
There's a warning when you go in, warning you on live CCTV. Something to do with cameras. And, when you enter, we'll film you to prevent crime. And like, what are you doing?
That sounds like the commission of a crime, you filming people in the toilet.
Well, they say it's for prevention.
Right.
And I just felt a bit uneasy.
I would think so, yes. Smile, you're on candid camera. No thanks.
I should have smiled and spun around.
I think I'd hold it until I got home. Okay, well, thanks for the alarming news, John. I'm never going to... another excellent reason not to go to Northolt. You believe that? I'm surprised. There must be a law against that, surely. Get Daniel Barnett on the phone right now. I mean it. Hendon, Daniel.
Hi. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. I wanted to say that I agree with Keir Starmer. I agree that a ceasefire is not feasible right now. I think one thing that people are misunderstanding is that when Keir Starmer is calling for no ceasefire, he isn't saying that there shouldn't, in theory, be a ceasefire. Of course, everyone wants an end to the suffering, the violence, but he understands practically that this is just going to happen again and again and again. And if Israel just hits one big blow at Hamas now and destroys it, then this can mean peace for the long term.
I don't know. But really, I mean, the scenes that I've seen, the people who've had their house blown up, all of their family members have been killed. They had absolutely nothing to do with Hamas. How do you think the people that survive are going to feel? I mean, does this not look like a classic case of actually encouraging people to become future fighters?
I agree. Look, I agree that's a problem as well. I don't know how to resolve that. That's, I think, way beyond anyone's capability. To discuss it, I think it needs big people, big talks. But I do think that eliminating Hamas is the first step, and people need to recognise that what Hamas is doing is war crimes. It's not Israel. Israel does everything it can to avoid civilian casualties.
No, that's obviously not true. I mean, the scenes. Well, unless the news channels are making up the images that they're showing us, to say that the Israelis are doing everything they can to avoid civilian casualties is obviously not true.
The truth is, the problem you have here is that people are looking at this as a numbers game. People are seeing that there are 8,000 people dead in Gaza, which is awful, horrific. I think it's terrible suffering, unimaginable. And when you look at Israel, very few people are dying. The truth is, the reason why that is because Israel has defense mechanisms. Hamas has just created an area of land which has no mechanism for defense, nothing just. Its only sole purpose is to destroy Israel.
Yes, but
that's why there are people dying. That's why, because there are no places of
refuge. Is it not reasonable to conclude from what we've seen that Israel wants Gaza to cease to exist?
Absolutely not. They left Gaza to the Palestinians in 2006. But
what does it look like they're doing now to you? I mean, does it look like it would be possible to rehabilitate some of those places?
I believe it will be. I just believe you need to have a group that isn't a terrorist organization running Gaza Strip. Something like the Palestinian Authority could be better, but Hamas is not the answer. And I mean, the Palestinian people in Gaza know that as well. I mean, people aren't able to get jobs because of Hamas. People's families have been killed. I mean, even in the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, people are beheaded and murdered for Western beliefs that we uphold, but at the same time, people are fighting for Palestinian rights, not understanding that if they went to these areas of land, they would not be able to survive or live the comfortable lives they do in Western countries. It's just an interesting where people's loyalties lie when it comes to, they see death on TV, which is awful, but then when we talk about values, Israel upholds the values that a lot of people fighting for Palestinian rights believe in.
Right. Like what values do you have in mind?
Values such as, I've seen a lot of LGBTQ plus people in support of Palestine. It's just the irony is, if you look back just a few months ago, there was a boy, I think he was around 20-something years old, and he was beheaded in the West Bank for being openly gay. And he tried to seek refuge in Israel, and they forcibly brought him into the West Bank from Israel and beheaded him there. That's just one occurrence. People have been pushed off buildings. That doesn't happen in Israel. Israel's a Western country living in the Middle East, and I think that's its biggest problem, is that the countries around it can't accept that.
Tooting. Hello, Jan.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, Jan.
Yeah, I was ringing to say a couple of things, but I hadn't planned to say this, but when Musk came into the conversation earlier, I thought I suddenly remembered something that I heard that has been pushed into the background, and it never came up while he was. It seems I picked it up as a little like a tidbit in an article, and it's kind of
an Elon Musk tidbit. Yes.
Yeah, because it's quite sinister in a way.
Uh-oh.
No. In the way that he got permission, and this hasn't been in the news, and he probably won't. It's gone into the background now. But he got permission from some organisation in the States where he could get a chip linked to AI into someone's brain, a human brain, a living person's brain.
Right.
So, he's already started.
Yeah, but with what intention, though? So that you could answer your front door when you weren't there?
No, it's linked to an AI program, artificial intelligence program.
Right.
So that's a direction that he's going. But that's already started in the medical field. But he's obviously, he's not necessarily interested in the medical field. But I was thinking about what was being said earlier about, how young people are literally addicted to their things. Yeah. Maybe people will have chips put in their head.
He and people like him are going to be a small handful of billionaires, or maybe by that time there'll be trillionaires, who are going to control the thoughts of the entire human race. Not directly from a chip, but just by dint of the information that they have you see.
But he can get it directly into the brain.
Yeah.
Which to me is the darker side of it, the sinister side to where they may take it. These billionaires,
You got Elon Musk's chip in the brain, Elon Musk's chip in the membrane.
But I'm coming to. I was ringing to say something about what I found out about, which has been in the news, about the results of some research into how the benefits of, which is the opposite of insomnia, because I used to be a bit of an insomniac, and I've got out of that, I think, but sometimes. But there's this new research which has come up with by saying that lack of sleep, loss of sleep, not long term like insomniacs go through, can be very, very beneficial in that it gives. There's this transmitter called dopamine.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an increase in that.
What, when you have a lack of sleep, there's an increase in dopamine? You get dopamine squirting around your brain when you lack sleep? I seriously doubt that.
No, well, they said,
dopamine is the pleasure chemical, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it, yes, pleasure.
Well, there's no pleasure when you lose sleep, Jan.
No, but that's what they're saying, the new research is saying.
Well, I don't care. Who are these new researchers?
Yeah, the neurobiologists in America have found out in their research,
right,
that
there's more pleasure from people who lack sleep. No, they don't know what they're talking about.
No, wait, the sleep.
Sleep deprived, yeah. Sleep deprived people have a lot of dopamine in their brains. They're having pleasure night and day. I seriously doubt that.
No, but they're saying the brain is also getting rewired because there's more neurons are being, more connections are being made. So they're saying
There's nothing good about lacking sleep. There really isn't.
No, they're saying they
I
agree with
don't
that.
care what they're saying. I don't know who they are. I am telling you that lack of sleep does not have any good consequences. It just doesn't.
No, but they've found out from their experiments that dopamine is increased.
I don't care what they found. There's nothing good about losing sleep. There really isn't.
Well, I mean, I was an insomniac, but I found recently when I had some sleep loss, they say it puts you it has an antidepressant effect on mood for several days.
Right.
And it can rewire, in a few hours, the brain, the synapses or the neurotransmitters in the brain through the dopamine increasing it.
Right.
Can rewire parts of the brain. It's just to do with the synapse. You know about that. I mean...
Oh, well, if it's to do with the synapses, then I'm not remotely interested.
No, but it's like if we learn something new, we can increase our brain capacity.
No, my brain is completely full up with the rubbish that I have sucked in up to this point, Jan. There's not a single drawer or room in there that is not already full of rubbish.
No, but that was in the paper.
I don't care what paper it was in or who came up with it. Sleep is excellent, and I want more of it.
But brief sleep loss can be beneficial.
No, I seriously doubt that.
It says staying up all night may give brain a happy bounce. That was the headline for it.
Yeah, only if you're on happy chemicals.
No,
I mean, people who are going to do the disco dancing, like those people, happiness. Yeah, I understand that. But losing... Jan, stop disagreeing with me.
No,
losing sleep is not a good thing. Talk about insomnia, like insufferable is the word that's occurring to me. Chingford. Hello, John.
Oh, John from Chingford?
John from Chingford. Chingford John.
All right. Actually, I'm a Muswell hillbilly, really. I was born in Muswell Hill, but could never afford to live there.
John, can you call us when you get to Chingford?
Yeah, no, I'm here now.
Ah.
You said about, I thought it was quite funny, you said James Cleverly looks like Desperate Dan. I found it very amusing, but I saw him yesterday, and he's got a full beard now, not designer stubble, and he looks more like Bluto out of Popeye. And I was thinking, Michael Fabricant as Popeye, Annalise Dodds as Olive Oil, and Bodger as Wimpy.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Wait a minute.
Wimpy?
In the Popeye cartoon, Wimpy's the chubby guy who's always eating hamburgers.
Oh, that is offensive.
Oh.
But pretty much on the nose. Scunthorpe. Hello, Tim.
Hey, Nick. Good to speak to you again, mate. Hope you're well.
Yes, good, thanks.
I'm just wanting to really just sort of give you what I think, my observation really about my thoughts for the weekend coming, next weekend. I do battle with the idea with the marches. I mean, they've called for 1 million people to be, if you remember, it was all advertised. It was suggesting 1 million people march on the day, but on Saturday, that is. But the thing is, what I find a bit hard to understand is why, if, for example, a marcher, is defending the right to march and they're not sort of against anti-Semitic or whatever, why aren't they self-policing? It's very difficult for us to understand people who don't agree with the marches necessarily, because the fact there are flags being flown, Hamas flags or ISIS flags. Why don't the actual group themselves who are walking beside people who raise those flags take them down? I mean, could you imagine a flag being raised all of a sudden by one of the veterans? Suddenly, I don't know, maybe a National Front flag goes up. The veterans would leap on it immediately. Not in our name.
I'm not sure about that. I wouldn't recommend starting fights over anything, because that it's not like the movies. It doesn't necessarily end well for the person that started it. But thanks, Tim. San Diego, Michael.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
My name is Michael. I listen occasionally onto LBC. I'm a British and Israeli citizen. I served for 4 years in the IDF in the infantry as an officer, and another 11 years in the Gaza division, also as an officer. Couple of quick points. I don't know who your first guest was, but I don't know where he got his history from. The last time Israel tried to negotiate with the Palestinians for a state was 2008, under Prime Minister Ehud Olmert, who offered them 100% of the West Bank, and they refused. Before that was the year 2000, under Prime Minister Ehud Barak, who also offered them 92% of the West Bank, and they also refused. This isn't about settlements. There are 0 settlements in Gaza. There haven't been any since 2005. And the areas that were attacked by Hamas were absolutely inside what people like to call the legal Israel, the one given under the UN in 1948. So I don't think it's a matter of settlements or anything like that. And this whole argument of proportionality just blows me away, to be honest.
In what way?
Because when England went to war in World War II, no one was counting the amount of British soldiers killed by Germans and then said, well, once we've killed the same amount of Germans,
but there's no point going back to the Second World War, is there? Let's talk about what's happening.
Let's talk about what's happening now. Absolutely fine.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So go ahead. Explain what you meant.
Yeah. Okay, so what I mean is the only proportionate response to a terrorist organization coming to the other side of the border, killing indiscriminately babies, women, raping women, obviously, killing men, Jews and Arabs, by the way. The only proportionate response to something like that is to absolutely destroy that terrorist organization. That's the proportionate response.
But they're killing people who aren't part of that terrorist organization.
Well, I have a question. What would you expect the IDF to do under the circumstances? If they're hiding behind those civilians, and it's absolutely proven that they are underneath the hospitals and inside the mosques and inside the schools, and it's also been proven that Hamas does not allow the citizens to evacuate south, where Israel's sending supplies 100 trucks a day, I believe now?
I'm not sure that any of those things are proven, but your point about proportionality...
Yeah.
You haven't explained that.
What's not...
So
I think it's very simple.
Okay. I understand killing terrorists, yes, but killing children, babies.
First of all, I would say that I absolutely don't. I'm not happy about innocent people dying on either side. I wouldn't want babies or children or women innocent to be hurt.
So it's not proportional.
But, what do you mean it's not proportional?
The reaction from the Israelis...
People die... No, it's absolutely proportional. Israel is doing... If Israel wanted to do an improportional... Does anyone really think that the IDF, the most powerful army in the Middle East, if they actually wanted to commit a genocide, as some people are implying, do you really think that this would be their best effort? Do you think that if they actually wanted to carpet bomb the city and destroy as many and kill as many people as possible, do you think this is their best effort to doing so?
Well, have you seen the pictures from Gaza?
Of course.
It looks like complete, total and utter devastation. It seems impossible to imagine how anybody could repopulate and fix the damage that's done. It looks like nobody could ever live there again. Let's have Bicester. Phil.
Hiya.
Phil.
Hello.
Let me say...
I just want to get...
Yes, Phil.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. I've just got a couple of quick ones before you turn me off.
Okay.
No, serious. When you say Cameron's in the shed with the tools...
Yes. Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means he's... where do you keep the tools? In the shed. And that's where you'll find David Cameron, with the tools in the shed.
Why? Yeah, but why?
Because he bought that fancy shed. Do you not remember he spent about £100,000 on a shed?
Oh, right. Okay.
It might not have been £100,000, but even if it wasn't, that doesn't prevent it from being a fact. And another thing.
We've closed the wing of the Simon Wiesenthal part of Bicester Town Council because they managed to track down Martin Bormann at last.
Is this you aren't right? Okay, you know what? I don't wish to go a single solitary inch further on that, but I appreciate the call, Phil, for whatever it was about. Bicester, hello, Phil.
Hello.
Yes, Phil.
Couple of things, right? Yeah. First of all, Rishi Sunak, yeah? You know you're on about his ties, his thin tie.
Yeah.
It's not a tie at all. It's an Indian rope trick. And every time he addresses Mr. Speaker, it comes out of his trousers and rattles in the air. Anyway, that's my material. It's on a serious note.
Terrible material, yes.
Yeah, I know. You were going to investigate the cost of the barge that we've rented, yeah?
Yeah, I was going to investigate. I know what it costs. I have detailed files.
What is it then?
I think it's £7,000 a day just to moor it. And I think it's £2 billion over 2 years for that one and two that look like it. The cost of which is more than sending people on Royal Caribbean's most expensive cruise liner.
Yeah. Well, I did a bit of Googling.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
They can't touch you for it. But to build a cargo ship, you know, a cargo ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The figure came out at 10 million,
right,
including maintenance.
Yeah. So we could have built one for the change of from the £2 billion that we spent just to rent them. We didn't buy those things; we've rented them. That's the rental charge for 2 years, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, but if you'd have built a cargo ship, it'd still be yours.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yes, correctamundo. That is ridiculous.
One more thing.
And another thing.
These tents that Brahma Mamovich, what was she called?
Yes.
Wants to ban. Yeah? How is she going to deal with that? She's going to send a group round looking like Clockwork Orange to deal with them.
I would not be surprised. At this point, I wouldn't put anything past her. Suella Braverman has demanded a crackdown on homeless people sleeping in tents, as she claimed that they were living on the streets as a lifestyle choice. The hardline Home Secretary wants to restrict the use of tents that cause a nuisance and to fine charities who help desperate people camp out on the streets as part of a bill in next week's King's speech. She warned that Britain's cities risk becoming like San Francisco or Los Angeles, where, quotes, weak policies have led to an explosion of crime, drug-taking and squalor. You know what? I can't wait for the King to read this stuff out. I mean, the speech is going to ignore the issues closest to his heart, green issues, you know, because Fishy Sunak is all about the oil now. Want to get a lot more oil. Please all of those donors. So he's going to ignore all of that and row in the opposite direction to that which Prince Charles wants. Protecting the planet, you know, the flora and the fauna. I mean, some of Prince Charles' best friends are flora. And he likes the fauna because it gives him something to shoot at. I mean, what would happen if he just refused to read this stuff out? I mean, I know he has cottages the size of houses and houses the size of manors and manors the size of mansions and estates and halls and palaces and castles the size of, you know, estates and halls and palaces and castles. All of that for him to call home. But even he must balk at the idea of kicking people who have nothing out of a tent. I mean, I bet he makes his displeasure felt in some way when he's reading this stuff out. He might go, you know, waggle his eyebrows a bit, that sort of thing. Charities branded the idea cruelty dressed up as policy, which would only push people further into destitution. Pushing people further into destitution is this government's #1 priority.
It's the country's #1 priority.
Yeah, it's his priority. He's gripping it. God. You know, we've got another year of this.
Oh, no.
Yeah. A year. I mean, this is as bad as they are a year out. Can you imagine what they can dream up in the next 12 months? God, doesn't bear thinking about, does it? I mean, those people sleeping in shoe shop doorways, They had the opportunity to be born to rich parents, but they decided to be poor. Instead, they only have themselves to blame. Smug.
My view.
Exactly. The Tory 2019 manifesto... You read that, yes?
No.
The Tory 2019 manifesto promised to end the blight of rough sleeping by the end of this Parliament. But the government was warned by experts that it was unlikely to meet this pledge, and they told them that last year. Now, the Twisted Sister, Suella Braverman, is drawing up plans to deter charities from giving tents to homeless people by making it a civil offence, leading to fines. She's going to fine charities. I'll just let that swill around your brain for a moment. She's going to fine charities if they break this new law. So the homeless will probably die if the winter is a bad one. And if they all die, on the bright side, there won't be anyone rough sleeping anymore. Another promise fulfilled. Problem solved. And you know, the number of people estimated to be sleeping rough in England has risen 74% above where it was when the Tories took power in 2010. 74% under the caring Conservatives since 2010. I mean, the Conservatives took power in 2010 and sleeping rough rose by 74% while they were in power. Could the two perhaps be connected? And Cruella Braverman, that Twisted Sister, posted on Twitter, "The British people are compassionate." She keeps saying that, doesn't it? The British people are welcoming. The British people are compassionate. Well, why don't you try doing one of those two things then? She says, "We will always support those who are genuinely homeless. But we cannot allow our streets to be taken over by rows of tents occupied by people, many of them from abroad, who are living on the streets as a lifestyle choice." She said there were options for people who don't want to sleep rough, and said that rough sleepers in tents were causing nuisance and distress to the public. Well, you know another thing causing nuisance and distress to the public? I'll tell you.
This government.
Exactly. I mean, look at the polling. We hate you. And the weird thing is that they're stuck in a doom loop. I mean, I bet they can't quite understand it. They must say to themselves, well, we've made a point of being as useless and nasty as possible, and still our numbers are down. I mean, what do these people want from us? And because they think that we are all like they are, they double down and are even more useless and even more nasty in order to turn their fortunes around. Well, how's that going?
Fabulous.
Here's a revolutionary thought. Have you considered actually being nice, Cruella? Have you considered giving the appearance of being a decent human being? Or is that just not a place that you're comfortable going?
No.
Yeah. Matt Downey, the crisis chief executive, says, that's the charity. He's not in charge of crises. He's the crisis chief executive. He said if the government pursues these proposals to criminalise the use of tents, then this is cruelty dressed up as policy. Yeah, like he's telling us something we don't know. Yeah, that's the plan. He says, like the Vagrancy Act, these draconian laws do nothing to tackle rough sleeping. Instead, all they do is push people further into destitution. He says we should not have people sleeping on the streets in the first place, but far too often this is the only option, when they have nowhere else to go. So we'd invite the Home Secretary to answer the question of what should people do? Sleep out in extreme weather and expose themselves to greater risk of violence or abuse, or sleep in a tent? Because this is the life or death reality thousands will be forced to face because consecutive governments have failed to build the truly affordable housing that we need. And government listened to him saying that, and all they heard was, it's just noise to them, does not compute. They're about as compassionate as a fire hydrant. Matt Downey, the chief executive of Crisis, called for a greater investment in housing benefits and public services to help people out of blah, blah, blah. You know, it doesn't really matter. They're not listening. soon as they heard the word benefits, they were putting their fingers in their ears and humming loudly to themselves. I mean, what could they possibly be thinking for us next? Banning poor people, perhaps? Well, they've never met one. As we know from that time that Titchy Suit Size actually asked a homeless man if he was in business. I mean, talk about detached and deluded. We've created a country where it's illegal to have bad luck. Well done, everybody. Vote Conservative. Bloomsbury. Hello, Sophia.
Good evening.
Yes,
how are
Sophia.
you?
I am great, mate.
That's good to hear.
Is it?
I just want to say, in the last few hours of the summertime,
when the living was easy, yes.
As it is my birthday.
Your birthday?
Yeah, exactly. Tomorrow week, anyway.
Wait a minute. Wait. Back up.
Tomorrow week.
Tomorrow week.
On the fireworks day.
Okay, I take that back.
Well, it will be different then, because the question is, do you think, as we had a referendum saying we want to keep the summertime, that we had a chance actually of achieving it, or we just got ignored as usual?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
And anyway, as far as the Stones are concerned, I think they put us back in the Stone Age. He quite likes Jay Jagger because his name sounds very exotic and it's alliterative, but he was very nasty to Jerry Hall. And also, we've been telling a lot of jokes about the milk floats, because 7-Up is becoming out of date, and you can have to find Pepsi Cola and Coca-Cola on the float, and no milk anymore.
Well, you certainly are making a lot of sense, Sophia. No, I have absolutely no idea either. I'm thinking, not a clue. Brighton. Hello, John.
Hello?
John.
Yep. Hello, Nick.
Yes, John.
Yeah. Now, I think the criticism of Starmer and these demonstrations are all a bit ridiculous. I mean, Starmer's acting like the leader he wants to be. Israel's suffered a terrorist attack, and they're justified in going after the terrorists, hiding in Gaza.
Yeah, they are justified in going after the terrorists, but that seems to be, I don't know. I mean, can you say that that's actually what they're doing? I mean, they're talking about precision strikes and so on, but it doesn't look like it to me.
Well, obviously they've got their intelligence of where obviously they've got a lot of intelligence of where the terrorists are and the tunnels, etc. And so they're getting probably more intelligence, and they're hiding in tunnels and various places. I mean, they've gone after this leader, they say, in the last day. So that's what they've got to do.
Okay, well,
I mean, it's not like they're wearing uniforms or anything, so they can't. That's what they have to do.
Right, but you could fairly safely assume that a baby isn't a Hamas terrorist.
Well, that's just what happens in war. I mean, that's...
Well, only if one side allows that to happen. I mean, imagine if a terrorist was in the middle of London and they were holding a baby in front of them as a shield. Would it be okay to kill the baby, to kill the terrorist? You shoot the baby first and then the terrorist?
Well, no, but then you'll be, you've got a single target. Here they're hiding in among millions of people.
Right.
And they've carried out a mass atrocity in Israel. I mean, obviously, all this is being televised in Gaza. I mean, we're not seeing the film of what happened in Israel, that people being murdered there.
We absolutely did, because extraordinarily Hamas live streamed them doing it.
Yeah,
so
but we haven't seen it, so that's why it's not. Obviously we're getting all these photos of what's happening in Gaza, so that's keeping the media interested in Gaza. But also you have to question the motives of all these demonstrators in the UK. I mean, they're benefiting from the freedoms in the UK, whereas in the Middle East, most of the countries, they're all dictatorships anyway.
Well, as far as that goes, we see that's the direction that this country seems to be going in, because those protesters are being roundly criticised by Suella Braverman, the Home Secretary, whose position is that they should be dealt with the full force of the law.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, a lot of them seem to be terrorist sympathisers. You know,
that's not really the feeling that I got. Mostly, I think they just want a stop to the killing.
Yeah, but I mean, the Hamas, and there isn't anyone to deal with to come up with a solution to the Palestinian problem anyway. It's all divided in those areas, the West Bank and Gaza, and so there's no one to deal with to come up with a solution anyway. So it's not like Israel can come up with a solution to the Palestinian problem anyway. So, the demonstrators are not going to come up with a solution anyway. They're just sitting in their cosy lives in the UK.
Well, they're not sitting in their cosy lives at all. They're on the streets in the rain. The opposite of that. They are actually making a stand at risk to themselves, because the government's position is that these people who are marching and calling for a ceasefire are essentially terrorist sympathisers. So they're putting themselves at risk of arrest and worse. Now, let me see. Stockton-on-Tees, AJ.
Oh, hi, Nick. I got this call, you know. It seemed a lot of nice people are opening their eyes wide. Anyway, I have a wee point on China for you. When you mentioned the Foreign Office, I had been thinking, I bet Whitehall has got influence in this. You know, I think the Mandarins of Whitehall, they were always kowtowed to China, so to speak.
Right. Was that a joke? The Mandarins?
Yeah, it's the best way of putting it, Nick. Right. You know,
a listener with material.
Oh, no.
Right at the end of the show. I can't believe it. He's snuck in under the wire. All right, thanks a lot, AJ. Thanks for nothing.
Put your belly, get your backbone in.